Me, I'm a little annoyed too. I have to do movie reviews. How many? Holy shit. Okay, I guess we have to start with the first one. Mom and Dad. Oh, fuck. Me.
Okay, so there's this new Nick Cage movie that I heard a lot of people talking about from festivals, and it's directed by one of the dudes who did the Crank movies, who was like a stuntman turned director, and he's doing this movie about parents going crazy and killing their own kids because of radio frequencies. It's so messed up. You gotta rent it, you gotta watch it with your parents, just make sure you bring a knife for protection. Let me explain. Right at the beginning, we see a mom who is listening to the radio and a frequency goes on, and she just straight up leaves her kid on the train tracks to get run over. That's not how you train a child. We then get introduced to the Ryans, who are the main family, and they're your regular suburban household, which should automatically tip you off that they're insane. You can tell the parents miss being young. They hate that their daughter now has a boyfriend, and while stopping her from seeing him is kind of rude, this is just disrespectful.
Since when does anyone under 30 go to the movies?
Sweetheart. Excuse me? Big mobs of parents end up swarming the school before the bell even rings because they've all heard the frequency and are ready to kill these kids. The cops are trying to keep them away and they have this fence up, but a kid decides that he misses his mom so much, he jumps over it, and his parents straight up key him like that Kelly Clarkson song. You thought being booked in high school was bad? Imagine getting bagged by your dad mid-football field. My dude over here gets Brian Urlacher. The Ryans have a maid at their house, and she decides to tenderize her own child. Chick's boyfriend goes home, and after his dad pulls an Arthur fist, he then pulls the bottle on him and tries to kill his son before getting gutted himself. We then watch the news, and where Dr. Oz, of all people, decides to come out and tell us about this frequency and why it's killing people, because it has something to do with the animal kingdom and how they sometimes kill their kids when they decide to kill their kids. Grant Morrison also appears, who, if you don't know, this is a real-life comic book writer who I guess would know something since he writes some crazy stuff. Mama Ryan goes to the hospital since her sister's having a kid, and the moment that her sister gives life to her child, she's ready to take it away. Here's the thing, though. The parents are only killing their own kids. Whenever they see another person who's not related to them, they just act normal, like those families at the day after the purge. You know, like nothing ever happened at all. Carly and her boyfriend head over to the house to get her brother to protect them, and then we get this beauty of a line from Nick Cage.
The things you've seen on the internet. Mouth to dildo, dildo to ass, ass to ass, high branch, anal bees.
In fact, let me just hit you with the entire Nick Cage montage right now.
You talk about a pussy magnet. Chip magnet.
Not so helpful.
Like father, like son, right? But if you ever touch that car again, I'll fucking kill you. To open the door! Motherfuckers! You're going to open this motherfucking door! Yeah! You put your right foot in! You take your right foot out! You do the hokey and you fucking work it all out!
And mind you, this is a flashback. This is before they even go crazy. Back to the present, though, Nick gets triggered when he sees his daughter's boyfriend in his house, and if Mr. Fantastic was a pimp, he would smack his hose the way Cage straight up disrespects this young man right here. Mama Ryan gets home, and they try to jigsaw through the door that the kids are hiding behind. Cage goes to go get his gun, but his kid Josh beat him to it, and he glocks his mama. At this point, they decide to stick a hose from the outside so that the basement gets filled with gas, and that way the kids end up choking off of carbon monoxide. Which, just a reminder, your local PSA, this is the silent killer, so always check your smoke detectors. However, Carly's a MacGyver over here, and she sets up matches right underneath the door so that when the parents open it, it'll look like Khaleesi's coming over for dinner. The thing explodes, they make their escape, the boyfriend comes back to life, he gets fish hooked, then he dies again by the mom, and right when the parents are about to kiss their kiss to death, the doorbell rings. Believe it or not, it's the grandparents who also want to kill their own kids. So now we got this entire family battle royale going on, and Nick Cage ends up disintegrating both of his parents with one skirt, and the boyfriend pulls a Night of the Living Dead again, coming back to life, and he saves the day. If there's anything that this movie's trying to teach you at this point, is that it's okay to, break the fifth commandment. There's a couple of flashbacks that happen throughout the movie that kind of give us a gist at, the meaning of it, the themes. There's one where Cage was trying to create a man cave because, parents get old, but they still want to be young and adventurous. There's actual scenes where we look back at both of them and the fun that they had when they were youth. And there's even this line that they deliver.
And you used to be Kendall. And now we're just Mom and Dad.
Knowing that, we can finish up the cliffhanger line that they leave us with when they're tied up and Nick Cage says,
Sometimes we just want to
kill you. It's, your parents love you, but sometimes they just want to kill you. Thank you guys for checking out this movie. It's completely crazy. I do say rent it if you're a Nick Cage fan. You gotta be a Nick Cage fan.
It looks okay, but it doesn't look that good.
Alright, so this movie is so quiet, I could hear the movie playing next door. This movie is so quiet, I heard someone's digestive system in the movie functioning. It's so quiet, I had to open my can of soda when I got home. And that's kind of the beauty of it. I know to most people, Jim from The Office is always going to be Jim from The Office, and I don't know if this movie's gonna change that. I mean, my homie's been trying real hard auditioning for the toughest roles he can find, but he's always gonna be this to me. However, his directorial debut gets a solid junior prize from me since it's a movie that deserves to be experienced in theaters. If people knew how to shut up. Let me explain. So the year is 2020 and the whole world has pretty much been taken over by these Demogorgon, big-eared looking monsters that feast on their prey just by hearing them out. And that's why the entire world is pretty much turned into this gigantic library. John Krasinski's family has survived, along with a little hint that there's other communities out there who light up their matches during Twilight, except for this one kid right here, who's the youngest of the bunch, who decided to shop at Toys R Us for the closing sale, and he gets got because of this rocket. Even after that incident, John still decides to knock up his wife, knowing the dangers that it can cause, but, let's be blunt. Emily's hot. I thought it was interesting that he cast his own wife in real life to actually play the role because it automatically gives them chemistry. But what I thought was a very auteur decision was to cast his real-life pet monster as the monster in the movie. On top of that, the girl who plays the daughter is actually deaf in real life, like she is in the movie, and she just leaves me wonderstruck with all of her performances, especially when you realize that this girl looks just like Joel Edgerton. Like, they need to get her, this other dude, and Joel to play a family of three in a movie. And I'll explain the monsters, because I'm sure that that's what a lot of people want to know more about. We gotta take a little sneak peek at John's crazy conspiracy notes going on here, as we figure out that there's at least 3 that are near him. They're known as fallen or dark angels, alluding to the fact that they're aliens that fell from the sky, who scoped out Earth just by hearing them out. And considering that we have so much noise pollution, they pretty much just came here and started feasting on us. Some have tried connecting it to Cloverfield, since it is a Paramount movie, and it has a similar aesthetic to 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I guess you can, since Paradox pretty much said that any monster movie can just be a parallel universe Cloverfield movie, and this one maybe is, and it just so happens to take place in Scranton. You can see the metaphor of the movie as being about parenting, since the 2 remaining kids want to swap roles, and the parents kind of got to deal with that. Giving birth to a child is dangerous at any point in time, minus it being the apocalypse. And because we live in a world where you got to teach your kids that if you say anything at all, damn vultures on the internet will come and eat you up, you can kind of connect it. Now, I think it is a theater experience because of the sound, right? Should the music have been as loud, considering that there was a big emphasis on it being a quiet place? Should these dudes be stamping their hands all around and making loud noises to scare the audience when they know it should be a quiet place? But I thought story-wise it was touching that the dad's sacrifice towards the end of the movie, that his creation for his daughter, the hearing aid, ends up being the thing that saves them, as the frequencies in her earpiece are what kills these beings. That her and her mom get locked and loaded to take out the other 2 creatures, and we assume as the movie ends that they're going to use all of the dad's leftover gadgets to create this huge doggy whistle frequency thing, and that way they can take back the Earth. And, do the complete opposite of the title. So whether you think this movie is about parenting, whether you think it's about survival, or dealing with the internet, there's no doubt that the main message you can get out of this movie is that sometimes you should just be
quiet. The world was quiet. And I really liked the movie. It was really good. And also subscribe to them. You could just touch it and you could subscribe.
Hey, Dad. Morning, William.
Morning. It'll be like it never happened.
What's going on? William, something's not right with me. Tell me the truth.
There was a crash. You and the kids died. Initiate. I brought you back.
There is a reason human cloning is banned.
I'm dead.
We stole millions of dollars worth of Bionite equipment. I hope you're ready to go to jail.
Those 3 subjects are our property. I didn't defy every natural law there is just to lose you again.
How could you do this?
Because I love you.
It's really
So
good.
I love how this movie is called Blumhouse's Truth or Dare. Like, it's freaking Lee Daniels, the butler. I get that it's because of copyright, since, movies all of a sudden are trying to adapt games we were playing back in 3rd grade. There's Truth or Dare, there's Hide and Seek, there's Tag, there's Uncle Tom's Cabin. And while this is the studio that produced Oscar-winning films like Whiplash and Get Out, let's be honest here. Y'all know this is a low stream it. Let me explain. So to tackle this whole thing right from the beginning, right, for those who really care about the origin of this curse, it starts in Mexico in this church where a priest has set up a convent for girls who love playing games such as hide and seek, but it's kind of implied that the priest likes to seek a little too deep. So one of the girls decides that the best way out of this, right, the best way to be able to get rid of this dude who's messing with them is to, summon a demon. This is the name of that demon, which I ain't pronouncing because I ain't about to get cursed, but pretty much this spirit can take over a person, place, thing, or idea, such as the game Truth or Dare. After it gets summoned, it cuts up the priest and buries its body underneath the floorboards, and then decides to stay and still torment the girls by forcing them to continue playing the game Truth or Dare, and pretty much turns it into Russian roulette. The main chick who summoned it realizes that she just has to repeat a phrase 7 times, like Hail Mary, cut off her tongue, and wax seal it in a pot for everything to be good and the demon to go away. But of course, crazy teenagers always gotta show up. There's this guy right here who decided to come with his original group. He's the one who breaks the pot and the curse gets released and all of his friends start dying one by one. He then thinks, well shoot, I saw it follows. I'll just bring new people up here to the church and pass it on to them. And that's when we get this main cast, who are some of the dumbest kids I've ever seen in a movie. I mean, look at this place. Why would you follow a stranger into that? Of course he hits them
That's
with
what
this
I
the
thought.
moment that they're there.
I brought you all up here because I'm okay with strangers dying if it means I get to live.
They get cursed and have to play the game in order of this photo. Now listen, I don't know who thought putting this derp Snapchat filter would be scary, but I'm not gonna lie, I was laughing throughout the entire time. Like, randomly they start seeing things like this and get told Truth or Dare and find themselves in the most awkward
funny,
situations.
because they're all
Even more
smiling
awkward
for
than
no
that's alright,
fucking reason.
Right? You got these 7 coming in order of 1, this
This is
girl
not
having
this
to
movie
admit
with a
out loud
fucking
in the library
good
that her
idea.
friend cheated on her boyfriend. 2, this dude who refuses to do a dare of showing his penis, so he gets killed by a pool table. 3 is the boyfriend having to admit that he actually has feelings for the main chick, Olivia. 4 is the friend having to smash the main chick's hand. 5 is this kid reenacting Love Simon and coming out to his dad. 6 is this dude penning himself during an interview because he won't tell the truth. And 7 is this day drinker who has to finish an entire bottle of vodka while walking on top of a roof, which is just a normal Saturday night in college. I personally love how this chick keeps getting mad, right? That's where they had a little angst because she feels everyone's ruining her relationship. when she's the one who's cheated. There's even a subplot later on where her dad had committed suicide and she realizes that her friend was almost molested by her father the night that he decided to commit suicide. And even though her dad was the one who almost raped someone, she blames her friend. I'm always curious why demons appear behind people and then just like disappear and the person never saw them. So I'm like, who are these demons trying to spook? And there's even that point where this girl finishes straight up 80 ounces of Amsterdam and is walking straighter than an alpha male in the next scene. They eventually meet up with the survivor of the first group who fails her dare of killing Olivia. So the main chick and this chick both die in the process. Simon gets shot by a cop when he's dared to make his father beg at gunpoint. And somehow, after all of this, the cops still let them walk around. I think my favorite dare was when Olivia realizes, because they actually do have to do the dares again, it goes in a cycle. Olivia realizes that there's this 2-truth limit, and then the next needs to be a dare, and she decides to get a dare, which causes her to get forced into having sex with her best friend's boyfriend. Man, this dude knew he was next, and he was like, shoo, you can double dare me next. With these three being left, they decide to find the original nun who started it all. She tells them the rules. They then have to go find the guy who brought them there, since he's the one who broke the vase. But then, not only does he die doing the ritual, because he's dragging, but the boyfriend dies, and it's just these two. And get this, Olivia decides to freaking bring the demon into the game of truth or dare. Now look, I'm okay with that, right? If the rules are that you have to be in the church in order to involve someone else in the game, and you're on top of your feet, and you decide to bring in that demon, so now it's stuck playing too, that's smart. But why not dare it to kill itself? Y'all still could have done truth, bring it in, it then has to do it there, and then boom, everybody wins. But instead, you decide to live stream on YouTube from the church, because I guess it can digitally now release the curse, and then curse the entire world just so you can delay your turn? Blumhouse, now you know that's just dumb.
Tell the truth.
Thank you guys for checking out this video. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Like I said, you can always have fun with these dumb little movies, but that ending, bro, they just want to set it up for a sequel where it's practically Rings. Like you did, I mean, you were supposed to be in the church. Now you don't have to be in the church, and you're digitally cursing everyone out in the world. Even though this girl said that she would kill her friends to save Mexico. What? I'm curious to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Any other questions or thoughts that you had for this movie or any other ones? Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, because I dare you.
Start the new year with big savings at Menards and Beauty to Any Room.
That movie was so fucking stupid.
6x24 Norwood porcelain tile and chestnut.
I'm not talking about it anymore. They started Rampage, which is one of my favorite movies.
So I'm sure by now we all realize these adaptations barely have anything to do with the game. They're just using it for the nostalgia purposes, to the point that they even show you the arcade game constantly in the background of the movie. But we all know the rock-solid appeal to this movie is your boy Dwayne The Rock Johnson, who never changes clothes between sets, by the way. I'm not saying it reinvents the blockbuster, but I kind of love the rampaging parts of Rampage. I almost gave it a junior prize for how theater-worthy I thought that third act was, but then had to settle for a rent tip because of that ending. Let me explain. So there's this chick up in space who's been testing these serums on a rat, and it causes the rat to go all freaking master splinter on steroids, to the point that the entire spaceship explodes and the remaining serums fall onto Earth. Yeah, the shuttle disintegrates, but these potions were just fine. That's where The Rock comes in with his buddy George, who he rescued from Africa as his mom was getting turned into ashtrays by poachers. I know some people claim that George has been whitewashed from the game since he's an albino now, but I kind of like these two. Like, finally The Rock has someone his own size that he can mess with. Until George touches that serum thing that freaking turns him into King Kong. Now this thing is like a mixture of the Limitless pill that expands its mind. It's like the Annihilation effect where it refracts with other beings, and Sammy Sosa's steroids since he gets whiter. There's also a freaking she-wolf thing that got the serum and it becomes feistier than Shakira. The thing has wings like a bat and just scoops up people like a scene from Predator. Even Joe Maggiano's, who I think is one of the most BA dudes out there, practically the Punisher's father, in my opinion, gets swallowed up like a gusher. Now, Jesse and James over here are the sibling duo responsible for this, since they're the ones who set up the experiments because of their company. And they decided to take it back to those 2012 movies where they always rely on that third act tower sequence in order to attract these monsters with sonars. Obviously, the government gets involved, and that's where Negan, not Jeffrey Dean Morgan, freaking Lena Negan gets involved, but since he's not dealing with Rick, but The Rock, his batting ratio is way lower in this one. But he's still on that act again. Now, like I said, I like the action in this movie. but y'all could try a little bit for us. I mean, The Rock complains about being handcuffed, right? And then randomly just Man of Steel's himself out of it. Joe Magneto was only given like one up, but The Rock gets shot in the liver and then comes back the next scene stronger than ever. It's like just a little bit of effort, right? Even that final sequence in Chicago, which I loved, right? Because I'm from here. Seeing the mess up whacker drive to the point that Lollapalooza's got to get canceled, that was insane. But sometimes they do a little too much when they drive the action from a 9 to an 11 as they drop down the Sears Tower all the way to the floor. I mean, don't get me wrong. I flipped out when I saw that alligator monster thing appeared because I hadn't seen any of the trailers. So this thing was new to me when I see it appear out of the Chicago River. And I was like, aight, y'all are dead. It's over. They even send out these bomber jets, which are always over Soldier Field for the Bears game. So I don't know what took them so long to get there. But of course, you know that a wounded Rock and his buddy George are going to save the day. And then George dies. At this point, this is where I wanted to give the movie a Junior Prize because it had the guts to end it like that, right? It was like first Mighty Joe Young, then Caesar, and now R.I.P. Oh, he was alive. And then he flicks us off. Alright, George, you should have died too. Thanks, guys, for checking out this video. As always, I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. Like, look, I'm okay with a movie being dumb fun and I enjoy it, but I do think that when they had the action down pat, right, like you could actually see what was going on.
About anything?
Alright, so I'm sure most of you watching this have already seen the movie, and for those of you who haven't, you probably don't care, or were snapped into another dimension. So like the title says, big spoilers as I break down everything, every emotion, every tear of this movie that I would give a complete combo price to, even if I'm not super convinced with that ending. Let me explain. So this thing is part 1, right? This is something that they announced way back in the day before they changed it for some reason, because I guess they want to have a specific secret sequel title, but it definitely is the prequel to the actual war. It's the battle plans. It's the appetizer, if you will. Now, that ain't really a bad thing, because in this movie, right in the beginning, Thanos pulls up on Thor's ship like a bloody crip. My dude's working the purple suit, and even though he's a dick boy, he moves quick. Literally kills everyone on that ship. So that quote that they gave us in the last Thor movie about Asgard ain't a place, it's a people, bro, they're all dead now. And of course, Thanos would take out the black dude first. R.I.P. Idris. He then freaking kills Loki, puny God's Hulk before he's sent out on that rainbow road back to Earth, and then he treats Thor's head like the Monstars treated Michael Jordan's in Space Jam, just so he can add a rock to his Yu-Gi-Oh! Glove collection. Honestly though, why is this thing in a cube when really it just looks like a small glow-in-the-dark fruity pebble? Back on Earth, these guys then have to face Thanos' adopted White Walker of a son who wants Strange's Infinity Stone, and since Bruce randomly suffers from erectile dysfunction and can't get it up, they kidnap Cumberbatch and take him into space. Now Iron Man and Peter both gotta make it on the ship, and even though some have complained about Spider-Man's new suit, I think it looks dope. It's a space suit, so it makes sense, even though, yeah, I'll admit, he looks like Doc Ock in that thing from a Wild Wild West. Peter keeps doing that thing where he drops old movie references and they space vacuum Squidward out of the ship just like in Aliens, and they eventually meet up with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Some of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Before this, they had actually met up with Thor. We got a lot of characters. And Chris Pratt, since he's been putting a lot of weight, has decided to instead write in more jokes about him getting fat instead of renewing his lifetime membership. And while they again also split, we learn when we're with them that Gamora is the only person who knows where the final Infinity Stone is, and she gets dragged there by Thanos, who technically is her daddy. But he don't care when he's asked to sacrifice the one thing you love the most in order to get this stone. And the dude Sparta kicks Fiona in space in order to collect that next Dragon Ball. Thanos then faces these guys on his home planet that's all dust now. He low wains them as he picks up the moon and drops it on their heads. And before killing Tony, right as he's about to, Doctor Strange is like, yo, chill. Take this stone. Everything's all good. Also, I read the script, and there's that one timeline that I saw where we all live, and this is kind of what we gotta do in order to win. Thanos takes it and then heads to Earth, where Vision and Wanda have been trying to figure out how to have a baby without it getting a computer virus, when a gang of Magic the Gathering elves attacks them for the rupee on his forehead. Now, you would think that Ultron, as we saw in the second Avengers, being the powerful person, being thing that he is, he would be able to take these goons down, but no. However, Captain America shows up looking hot as hell. Dude's rocking that beard that would make your mother drop out of high school so she can tour with him in his band. These guys then all reunite, Rhodey can walk again, and they head to Wakanda in order to get the stone out of Vision's head when Thanos' kids pull up with these xenomorph-looking things acting like the zombies in World War Z trying to get in. Wakanda's been open for 2 months, and this is what happens. The movie then turns into World of Warcraft. This shot never happens in the movie, so they start getting their ass assembled, rumbled, and tumbled, and it seems like all hope is gone and everything is just gonna go to dust. But wait, there's Thor. Thor, in the meantime, has been chilling with Tyrion the Giant, who up in space has some Valyrian steel, and he creates a new hammer for him after Groot Skywalkers his arm, and he comes in like Wreck-It Ralph to save the day, proving that he's not only the strongest, the funniest, the most good-looking, but the fiercest Avenger out there, and clearly the best one. Until Thanos shows up. Now, I made a whole ending explain video to this, so I'll keep it brief since you can click on that one right there for all the theories. But, Wanda, if you could have disintegrated Vision's stone, but you were having trouble with that, why not just focus on the stones that were on Thanos' hand? I mean, the dude's wearing a glove, for crying out loud. Someone just dance and distract them, have somebody else come from behind and tickle his purple butthole, then swipe that glove right off. I mean, it ain't fitted. It's pretty big. He ain't got OJ hands. But instead, Thanos is able to collect all of them, and since he believes in the Holocaust, he decides to snap his fingers like T-Pain, and the whole theater was in pain. Heroes start disintegrating like Coco. Movie turns into season 4 of The Leftovers as half the people start getting raptured off this earth. And I get it. Y'all decided to take all of the heroes that we didn't think were going to die because we thought they had sequels, and you left the OG Avengers who we thought would bite it. You then ended on Thanos chilling on Te Fiti, and then cut to black. Boy. Now, like I said, I know everything's going to be okay. This is just part 1, and I have that video, like I said, where I discuss everything that I'm pretty sure is going to happen, and everything's going to be okay, so don't cry. But the more I think about it, if these are Earth's mightiest heroes, if Thanos is looking like a purple devil, if prophecies are being fulfilled, and people are being raptured, does that mean that Jesus is coming back? Is Jesus going to be the hero who kills Thanos? Is Avengers 4 a pure flicks film? Thank you guys for checking out this video. As always, definitely let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. What your favorite scene in the movie was, if it lived up to your expectations, all that stuff.
Okay,
I definitely loved
everybody,
it.
I hope you have a good day.
Emotions, but that ending, I mean,
wait,
they
hold
even
on.
ended on the logo. They ended.
Oh, thank you. We're over. So, thank you guys for watching this. Goodbye.